to come into the army. And then Tom Cadbury said he was very suspicious when he saw somebody with a master's degree from Oxford University coming into the Nigerian army. He said, what is this man looking for here? Because he knew that the army was not for people like Ojukwu. But probably he saw something that was coming in the horizon. So these are some of the few things we can add to his comments. But I think we are very pleased with what he presented to us. Thank you very much. Now the next speaker.
Biko, kwa Dr. Oderi Waka. Usie na aka ike, go na aka. Thank you so much. That was so very wonderful. This is just the beginning. Get one introduction. What I have from Dr. Deribo in times to come. So no work right now. My name will copies. He's a professor, and I claim professor. So all we know got just he has a lot more in his bag for you. And maybe in a very short time, we'll celebrate again and you meet some more people. In those days, na enwela Biafra. Only a former diplomat with the foreign services and the communication officer at the Biafra office in New York during the remarkably short-lived life of Republic of Biafra. He is the publisher and editor-in-chief of the award-winning Sun African Times, proclaimed by the African Union as champion of African agenda in America, and the only African newspaper as champion of the African agenda in America, and the only African to have won the Black Press Foundation's Newspaper of the Year 2000. He is a fellow of the New York Times Institute of Journalists, and he has been appointed twice as the state of Tennessee Ambassador of Goodwill. That was 1987 and 1988, as well as Ambassador of Goodwill for all African organizations. In 1988, he received a key to the city of Nashville, Tennessee. He was chairperson of the African Union Diaspora Tax Team, and now, all a coordinator of the African Union Diaspora Mayors and Legislators Group. He has received 66 awards, 66 awards in services in Africa, especially the pinnacle from the largest African youth group in America, Afri Metro. He is the recipient of 2 chieftaincy titles from Ohafia, Nigeria. He is the author of internationally acclaimed #1 bestseller, Capitalist Nigger, The Road to Success, a spider web doctrine which takes him all over the world as a keynote speaker on many important conferences, as well as the author of the blockbuster novel, The Brother Bond Conspiracy, which San Francisco, that is only that way they make spying. Did you know that they make spying? San Francisco State University has adopted his book to teach students on how to write spy novel. He is the author of the first in a series of children's African folklore books. The Life. Biko, never had one that you Dr. Chief Chike Onyane. Thank you.
Okay. Dr. Chika Onyane will be speaking to us on the Abiri Accord Aburi Accord. Ndị nọ na Biafra, unu ma ihe Aburi. We were standing on Aburi. On Aburi we stand. No more compromise. And even recently, people are called Olakai, go back to Aburi with Ihene in Nigeria. Then he will also be speaking on his foreign diplomacy. And also he will be talking about the role of the superpowers. Unu mana oga ina alụ agha, ndị Russia, ndị Britain, almost everybody against us except probably France. So he will be speaking on all of these. Dr. Onyani.
Thank you so much. Ndibo Kwen. Ibo Kwen. Question. Amrom Tata na Owibo Kanga Naso. Udi Guayman Naso, Amonyo Hafia. Amam Bido Suwa Hafia, Unra Mano, all the things in Kanaso. So I can be joke back here. I can be joke back here, Bruno. Ibo Kwen. Well, as the moderator said, I'm supposed to speak on Aburi Accord. I'm also supposed to speak on the diplomacy of Biafra and the impact that it had on our international relationships. But before I start, let me just give you a little bit of my own little background. The fact that I was in the Nigerian Foreign Service in 1966, I was in London. In fact, I was in London, during I had been posted to Dublin in '63, in '66. I was in London when Gowan finished his studies at Stanford and came back going back to Nigeria and stopped in the London office at the High Commission, Nigeria's High Commission. And then, before you knew it, we were informed that Gowan was now the head of state of Nigeria after the murderous massacre of thousands and thousands of Igbo, and all the Igbo all the Eastern officers in the Foreign Service were all recalled back to Nigeria. Those of them who went back immediately in July or early August, some of them died at the airport. And but luckily for me, the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs was somebody who was a northerner, but somebody who was educated in Igbo land. That was Ambassador Edwin Ogu, and who spoke Igbo more than most of us. So he came to London at that time. And, I talked to him, and he said, okay, go back to Brussels, where I had been going for the EEC, that is the European Economic Commission. So in September 1966, I was asked to attend the Prime Minister's Conference and then to go back to Nigeria. Which I did, and arriving in Nigeria, in fact, on our way back from to Nigeria, there were only 2 of us who were Igbo in the plane, and when we got to Kano, everybody disembarked except myself and the other Igbo, who was a lady. And stupidly, we sat there instead of going down with everybody. And all these northern officers came in with their AK-47s, and you know, we were sweating, we didn't know what to do. And well, fortunately for us, they looked at us, looked at our passport, and they left. And we proceeded to Lagos. As soon as I got back to Lagos, I decided to resign and to return to the Eastern Service. The permanent secretary called me and said, listen, I understand you are going back to the East, you should not go. But I decided, I told him, I didn't know who was telling him such a story. But as soon as my Volkswagen baby came in from London, you know, we used to call it Volkswagen baby at that time. So I packed my things and went back to the East. And I was posted to Dr. Kibo's office, which was the center of everything that was happening, the nerve center of what happened towards the declaration of Biafra. You had people like Dr. Ugo, Dr. Kalidika Carlo, Dr. Ifekweke, and all of them in that office. And with the declaration of Biafra, and I'm happy that, you know, to have played a part in taking the declaration to State House. I'm sorry I didn't know you at that time. To have taken the declaration at the State House and to have come back to enter my car and go back to my one-room apartment in New Haven to listen to His Excellency declare the state of Biafra on the 30th of May. It was the greatest day of all of our lives. With the declaration of Biafra, of course, I was reposted to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and in September I was posted to New York, to the Biafra office in New York, and well, I have been here since then. I just want to say that all the secret Biafran papers have been preserved, and from December 1967, when we arrived in New York, till the end of the war, till till January 14, all the secret papers are with me. All the secret Biafran papers are with me. And, you know, I am happy to say that I was the only officer throughout, of the 7 officers who were in the office at that time, I was the only one to have received a TEDx on the 17th of January from His Excellency's team in in Abidjan, to come and join the government in exile. But unfortunately, I did not get a ticket, and as I said, I stayed. So we all know what happened in Aburi. We know that if the Aburi Accord had been implemented, that the state of Biafra would not have existed. But unfortunately, Gowan, after returning to Nigeria, decided not to implement the Aburi Accord because he had been told that General Ojukwu outsmarted him badly. And the civil servants, the senior civil servants in Nigeria said over their dead body, will this accord be implemented? So, well, let me just take you through some of those people who were at the Abure Accord, Abure. And why Abure? Why was it not held in Nigeria? Why did it have to be held in Abure? And where is Abure? Abure, of course, is in Ghana. It's outside Accra, Ghana. And the Ghana government, under the Lieutenant General Ankara, had agreed to accommodate the Nigerian Supreme Military Council, and of course the governor of Eastern Nigeria, His Excellency General Ojukwu. And the people who were at that conference were Yakubu Gowon, Lieutenant Colonel Yakubu Gowon, Head of State, Colonel Odumegwu Ojukwu, Governor Eastern Nigeria, Mobalaji Johnson, Governor of Lagos State, Colonel Hassan Katsina, Governor of Northern State, Lieutenant Colonel David A. Joe, Governor Midwestern State, Commodore Joseph Edet Akinwale, Governor Rivers State, Colonel Robert Adebayo, Governor Western State, Alhaji Kam Salem, the then Inspector General of Police, Mr. Tu Omar Barre. Others who were there included N.U. Akman, who was my boss in Lagos when I was a young man, and then Alhaji Ali Akulu. Akman was the secretary to the military governor Eastern Nigeria. Alhaji Ali Akilu, secretary to the military governor North. David Lawani, Undersecretary, Military Governor, Office of Midwest. Odumosu, Secretary to the Military Governor, West. Kenswe, Permanent Undersecretary, Federal Cabinet. And as we know, the agenda, what were the agenda at that meeting? The agenda was the reorganization of the armed forces, constitutional arrangement, issue of displaced persons within Nigeria. Of course, we all know how many Igbo people had, those who had not been killed, how many of them had returned to the east, and most of them had been, all their belongings had been taken away, and as my colleague here had said, the first time when they had escaped back to the east and were given assurances by then our governor, the Ikemba, were given assurances about their safety. They had persuaded them to go back. And then the second pogrom occurred, massive pogrom occurred, and most of them had to return back to the east. So it was one of the turning points that had to be discussed. That is the displaced persons in Nigeria. And let me just give you some of the things, the salient agreement of the Abure Accord. Members agree that the legislative and executive authority of the federal military government should remain in the Supreme Military Council, to which any decision affecting the whole country shall be referred for determination, provided that where it is possible for a meeting to be held the matter requiring determination must be referred to military governors for their comment and concurrence. What Ikemba had demanded that all the governors must agree to any issue. It should not be by a vote of majority, that it had to be concurred by everybody. The second issue agreed on was specifically the council agreed that appointments to senior ranks in the police, diplomatic and consular services, as well as appointment to super-scale posts in the federal civil service and the equivalent posts in the statutory corporations must be approved by the Supreme Military Council. Then the third one was that the regional members felt that all the decrees passed since January 15, the day that the first coup occurred in 1966, and which detracted from previous powers and positions of regional governments, should be repealed if mutual confidence is to be restored. Now, of course, it will take too long to read to you the final Abruri communique. It will take too long to read that. But what had happened, as I said, was that on returning to Nigeria after the Abruri Accord, Gowon was faced with the disbelief of the Nigerian civil services, Nigerian civil servants, who felt that he had been totally outsmarted by General Ojukwu. Thus began a sequence of lies on the part of Gowon about the accord, saying that the accord was subject to the review of experts. As General Ojukwu said, anybody who was present at the Abruri meeting or has read the minutes, the communiques, statements, and verbatim reports would be surprised that a person who calls himself a head of state could so deliberately mislead accredited representatives of the foreign governments by saying that the implementation of each item of the conclusions required prior detailed examination by the administrative and professional experts in the various fields. The conclusions in Abruri were no proposals, but decisions taken by the highest authority in the land. I mean, the head of state, that is Gowon, who calls himself, as General Ojukwu said, he was there, and it was what had been agreed on was agreed by the highest authorities in the land. It wasn't that all of them had to go back and have it decided by civil servants. So there began the disintegration, the lies by Nigeria, by Gowon, about the Abruri Accord. As I said earlier, without Gowon's duplicity and distortions, the state of Biafra would not have been promulgated. However, with the promulgation of the Republic of Biafra, General Ojukwu, true leaders like the Right Honorable Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, mounted an aggressive campaign for the recognition of Biafra as a country by the British government, which had virtually become the de facto foreign ministry of Nigeria, also mounted its own aggressive campaign to thwart Biafra's outreach to the world. Biafra had established satellite offices in Lisbon, Portugal, Paris, France, and a beachhead in Sao Tome. There are some who would look at what happened in August 1969 when the Uwele of Onitsha, the Right Honorable Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, decided to switch his support of Biafra and call for reunification with Nigeria as an act of treachery. However, without his influence, the countries that have recognized Biafra would not have done so. And these countries included Tanzania, which was the first country to recognize the Republic of Biafra on April 13, 1968, approximately 11 months after the creation of Biafra. In recognizing and the other countries that recognized Biafra included Ivory Coast, Zambia, and Gabon. That of Haiti was to come later. Of course, with all these recognitions, we were also euphoric about, we thought that Biafra was going to be recognized by most countries. Of course, I don't know, do I still have more time? Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Here in the United States, of course, here in the United States, where I was, of course, the Biafrans worked very hard. In fact, we won the war in terms of publicity. Biafra won the war, and we have to give thanks to the Biafrans who lived in this country at that time, because they worked so hard. They gave up their money, they gave up their sleep, they gave up everything for Biafra. And of course, the United States government did not recognize Biafra, but there has been a lot of speculation about Nixon, not about Nixon, the fact that he made a lot of statements, he made some good statements during the war, during the 1968 presidential campaign. I can tell you that we all, as Biafrans, wanted Nixon to win the election. Of course, many people didn't know. In fact, many people didn't know that actually in July of 1968, that Nixon authorized that Kissinger look into the United States government recognizing Biafra. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nyani. I think if you have anything that you want to, any questions that you think you will ask these contributors, you can keep those questions at the end of the speeches. They will be able to, we can call up people to ask those questions. I think he's given us a very good background to the Aburi Accord. We all know that Aburi was actually steered towards giving Nigeria a confederation, sort of a confederation state. And since the civil servants did not go with Gowon, they thought Gowon had acceded to what Ojukwu wanted. They thought that was what Ojukwu wanted. So I'm happy that he's given us some of the agreements, and also his paper will be circulated to members and people who want to see them at the end of the occasion. Now we go on to the third speaker.
Anakola Aka for Dr. Nyao. sorry. Dr. Nyane, that was wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Nyane. I got to onye ka atọ gagwa anyị okwu ihe banyere ezigbo. Onye ga-agwọ okwu bụ ya wụ President, Dean of Greater Commission School of Ministry, New Rochelle, New York, and a pastor of Okandibo, New York. He was ordained in 1983 by the Most Reverend Dr. Benjamin OFR of the blessed memory. He served for number of years as Bishop's chaplain before proceeding to Britain for further education and mission partnership with the Church Missionary Society, which is CMS, United Kingdom. While in the United Kingdom, he did extensive research on the Biafran War from 1967 to 1970, and that is why I did now he holds a Master of Philosophy degree from the University of Birmingham, UK, and a Doctorate of Philosophy degree from the University of Port Harcourt, Nigeria. His PhD dissertation is on the role of church in Nigerian civil war. On his return to Nigeria from the United Kingdom, he served as a parish priest and became a lecturer at Trinity Theological College, Umuahia, Abia State, where he taught course of ordinance and pastors for many years. Yemi traveled to the United States of America in 1999. He has since had a varied experience serving as area missioner of New Jersey, pastor of St. Cyprian's Episcopal Church, Hackensack, New Jersey, St. John's Episcopal Church, Woodbridge, New Jersey, and Oka Ndibo, that's the Igbo Mission, New York. He has taught at the Newark School of Theology, Newark, New Jersey for 10 years before establishing the Great Commission School of Ministry in New Rochelle. Now, onye na-ekwu ya lụkwara nwa agbọghọ nwanyị ọkpụ ọ lụta aha ya bụ Ngozi. Onye bịa Ngozi na-akụzi na Rochelle School District, that is na New Jersey. And ha nwere ụmụ anọ. Onye na-ekwu okwu ya bụ onye ọzọ karịa onye nọma as the gentleman, honorable, doctor. No, the Reverend Canon, Dr. Martin Okike.
Okay. Dr. Okike will be speaking of the causes, brief of the Biafran Nigerian Civil War, the head of state and commander-in-chief of the Biafran Army, and that was His Excellency Chukwuemeka Odumegwu. Ndị nọ na Biafra, mana we never called him by his name during the war. Ị ga-anọkọta gị isi Ojukwu, ị ga-akpọ H.E. That was the only way we called him during the war. We never called him by his name. Now, he will also speak on his departure to exile. So, Dr. Okike.
Biko mbụ achọrọ m ikele ndị jikọtara emume a, ikele unu karịcha ka awụ mere mbụ tụmadị kemgbe mụ bịara America 1999 ahụtụbeghị mgbe ọbụla ndị Igbo bịakọrọ ọnụ otu a na-eme semina na-akọ ihe gbasara obodo anyị n'ụdị ejime ya. Eche m na ọ bụ otu ihe ọma pụtara na ndụ nke Emeka Ojukwu bụ His Excellency Odumegwu Ojukwu na ọnwụ ya akpọkọtara ndị Igbo. Ebere mbụ ka anyị nọgide n'otu n'aha Jizọs. Ndị haziri ihe a ike agwụrụ unu, ana m arịọ sị every other year unu enwe ike kpọkọtakwa anyị otu a. We can look at another aspect of our life as Igbos. Divided we fall, united we stand. Going into the area that I've been asked to speak about, I want to say that in the years following independence, corruption became the order of the day. One writer, Aborogi Abohamu of the law faculty at the University of Lagos, described the situation thus. The politicians comprised and imposed a government of over 80 ministers on a vacant nation. It is said that of recent, these people voted themselves £3,000 each for furnishing their houses, while they slashed down money for worldwide projects like universities. They built themselves paradises and people's palaces and bought bulletproof cars, while graduates earned as low in some places as £19 a month. There was widespread corruption and nepotism and general dissatisfaction with the politicians. And I want to say that Nigeria has not changed much since then. The beginnings of the breakdown in our country came in 1962 with a crisis in Western Nigeria, which necessitated the declaration of a state of emergency. Political disintegration, violence began in Western Nigeria. Acute rivalry among the political parties of the West brought disorder and cessation of peaceful political life. A second step towards national disaster was taken in the mismanagement of the federal election in December 1964. It was alleged that all political parties taking part were to blame. There was gross unfair practices which were allowed, especially in the north, which was completely taken over by the Nigerian National Alliance. For 3 nerve-wracking days, the country hovered on the brink of civil war, which was averted only by the grace of God. Events in 1965 in Western Nigeria may be considered the third step in a deteriorating national situation. The people of Western Nigeria had taken some consolation for the unfortunate political situation in their region, in the fact that they would have full opportunity to correct all anomalies during the regional parliamentary elections, which were due to be held soon. And there are so many people involved at that time, Chief Akintola, Awolowo, and the others. But the federal government accepted the results of the rigged election, which was completely rejected by the opposition, the UPGA. This resulted in a serious outbreak of rioting and violence throughout the Western region, which spread gradually towards Lagos. Unfortunately, the federal government glossed over this problem and did nothing to stop it, as in the case of the 1962, when a state of emergency was declared and enforced. In an effort to create a false sense of normalcy, a Commonwealth Prime Minister's Conference was summoned by the Prime Minister, Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, in Lagos in January 1966 to discuss the rhodesian problem. While the problem was on in Nigeria, they called a conference to discuss Rhodesia, South Africa, and their own problem. And we see that repeating in the Nigerians serving in Comog and keeping peace elsewhere in the world when there is war in our own country. On January 1966, the first military coup took place. The coup resulted in the assassination of the Prime Minister, a Northerner, and the rise in power of a military head of state, Major General J.T.U. Aguiyi-Ironsi Nwibo. Military governors were appointed for the 4 political regions of the country: Northern, Western, Eastern, and Midwestern. Lieutenant Colonel Odimegwu Ojukwu was appointed governor of Eastern Nigeria, which later became Biafra. On May 24, 1966, Aguiyi-Ironsi promulgated Decree 34, which abolished regions, unifying the civil service and placed bans on political parties and tribal unions. 4 days later, demonstrations against this decree broke out in northern cities of Zaria and Kano, followed by attacks on Easterners living in these cities. Between July 28 and 29, 1966, Northerners in the Nigerian Army killed more than 200 Eastern Army officers, together with the head of state, Major General J.T.U. Aguiyi-Ironsi, and the military governor of Western State, Lieutenant Colonel F.A. Fajui. On August 1, 1966, Lieutenant Colonel Yakubu Gowon, a Northerner, announced his assumption of office as head of state of Nigeria.